My father, William Miller. That is my mother, Catherine Louise Hunger.
Did your father not have a middle name?
Pardon?
Did your father have a middle name?
William John.
Thank you.
Yes. This is my father later in life. He was president of a company that made out of the stoves that go in all military housing.
Cool.
This is my mother when she was quite young. She came from a very wealthy family. Her mother, she was the second oldest of 6 children, and her mother died with the 6th one because, frankly, her father didn't understand about women and how delicate they could be, and he didn't have any compunctions, no matter how ill she got, about getting her pregnant again.
Mm-hmm.
And she died in childbirth. My mother went to live with her grandparents, who were quite elderly. And she had a housekeeper, and they had a lot of money. And as you can tell, she was raised totally different from Poppy, whose father was a steel worker and fell off a tower when Poppy was, I think, about 7 or 8. And his grandmother, or his mother, took care of the big Presbyterian church, stoked the furnace, cleaned the communion cups, swept the floors, waxed them. And Poppy would go to help her every morning before school. He would have to go to stoke the furnace. The church was built on a real steep bank, and grandmother would tie a rope around his waist and lower him with a lawnmower to cut it. And because of that, when I grew up, church never had a lot of importance in our life. He had it up to here. So this is my grandmother and grandfather.
Which side?
Or there, I'm sorry. My great-grandmother and grandfather. No, my grandmother and grandfather, yeah.
Which side?
Miller's side.
So his parents?
Yeah, he's the one that died.
Fell off the tower.
Poppy's father. And I knew her, I have very vague memories of her. I locked her in a coal cellar. Do you know what a coal cellar is? It's one of those, when they brought the coal, they would just have a chute from outside. They never had to come in the house. Mm-hmm. And they just put a long slide, and they just let the coal slide into your basement. And you had an outside door, one of those that opened from the outside. Mm-hmm. And she went down in there one day, and I locked her in. Anyway.
We locked out on the attic one time.
That was my mother shortly before she died. She died at 52. Poppy, of course, lived to be in his 70s. And that's me.
Sweet.
It's where I came into being. This is me. This is Poppy. This is his parents.
Those two?
And this, yeah. And this is my mother. Notice how they kept her standing straight? Brace. But as you can tell from her dress, she grew up in money. Poppy, on the other hand, grew up in total poverty, which affected him later on in life, too. This is my mother's mother, and this is Hiram Steele, the grandfather that raised her. He had a chain of hardware stores in a town called Apollo. And like I say, a lot of money. Pillar of the community. Who's this?
That
Anybody know?
That me. Yeah. Yep. That's me. Yep.
Yeah. Recognize all these people.
Yeah. Everybody but the boys. The men, sorry, me and Uncle Craig.
Up here, Bill and I, on the day we got married, that was our first Cary Blue. Bill and I. This is Bill's mother, Mamie, and his aunt. They're both dead, of course. But they lived out in Washington State. And we used to go out there quite a bit. When we go back and forth to Korea, we try and stop and see Mamie. She's gone. She's been gone for a long time. These are friends of the kids. You've heard us talk about the infamous kid that grew the pot in his closet in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
That's him.
Oh, he looks like a real smart
That's CJ, right there. And this was the girl's best friend. What was her name? I can't remember.
That was Michelle. That was my college roommate.
Yeah.
In Maryland, in Germany.
Munich,
not
yeah.
At England.
And let's see.
The pictures here.
We were at an amusement park in this picture.
Obviously.
That's us and Miss Hable. Miss Hable was a friend of ours that crazy person.
Drinking buddy of Nana. I think is more
A good drinking buddy. We recognize her. Bless her heart. Oh.
Which one's which?
Well, you can see
Not
why,
you.
you can
Not
see
you.
you can see why you might call somebody Tinkerbell.
It's not a question for you. It's a question for them.
I think they would recognize it.
Mom.
I already knew that.
This was me as a little girl. And as you can see, there's some resemblance, but not a whole bunch.
Which one's which? Nick.
That's Mom and that's Tim.
Yeah, this is Amy. That's Lori.
Oh, this is being videotaped. I should be quiet.
And again, you know who these people are. And the people behind you. You know all those folks.
Who's that guy? Who are those people with the hair? What is that? That's crazy.
That was an engagement. Or engagement pictures.
Yes. This is
Yeah,
Lauren
good.
Craig's
Nice.
engagement picture.
The mustache was short-lived.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Because I didn't have it for the wedding.
It's an interesting picture. I can't believe that you're that short.
Well, they had us leaning against
I know,
the thing,
I
too.
know.
So.
So that's all I know of my family. I mean, I know more, but those are the only pictures I have of any of them.
Sweet.
Oh, and that, of course, is Amy.
It's a big picture. Doesn't Laura have a big picture like that?
No, my parents went out to California, and they went to some town on the ocean, and there was just a guy there doing pastels like that. And Poppy took a picture out of his billfold and said, "Can you do that?" And he did. He did a wonderful job. Wonderful job. So that's it, guys. That's cool. That's where Tanta Amy comes from.